nanoscientist James Tour once said, "Only a rookie who knows nothing about science would say science takes away from faith. If you really study science, it will bring you closer to God." And I definitely agree with James Tour. Welcome to our daily Bible devotions. This week we're going to talk about a different argument for the existence of God, and we're talking about teleological argument. This whole week, as we talk about the teleological argument, I will read through many parts of a chapter in the book written by Norman Geisler and Frank Turek. Because in this chapter of their book, the title of the chapter is Divine Design, talks about teleological argument in the context of an incident in history that happened to Apollo 13. So I will read through their narration of the details that happened, and as they discuss the anthropic constants or the anthropic principle that accompanies the teleological argument. The scientific evidence for God does not end with the cosmological argument. For many, the precision with which the universe exploded into being provides even more persuasive evidence for the existence of God. This evidence, technically known as the teleological argument, derives its name from the Greek word telos, which means design. Teleological argument goes like this. Premise 1. Every design had a designer. Premise 2. The universe has highly complex design. Number 3. Conclusion. Therefore, the universe had a designer. Isaac Newton implicitly confirmed the validity of the teleological argument when he marveled at the design of our solar system. So he wrote once, "This most beautiful system of the sun, planets, and comets could only proceed from the counsel and dominion of an intelligent and powerful being." Yet it was William Paley who made the argument famous by his common sense assertion that every watch requires a watchmaker. Imagine you're walking along in the woods and you find a diamond-studded Rolex on the ground. What do you conclude is the cause of that watch? The wind and the rain? Erosion? Some combination of natural forces? Of course not. There's absolutely no question in your mind that some intelligent being made that watch and that some unfortunate individual must have accidentally dropped it there. Scientists are now finding that the universe in which we live is like that diamond-studded Rolex, except the universe is even more precisely designed than the watch. In fact, the universe is specifically tweaked to enable life on Earth, a planet with scores of improbable and interdependent life-supporting conditions that make it a tiny oasis in a vast and hostile universe. These highly precise and interdependent environmental conditions, which are called anthropic constants, make up what is known as the anthropic principle. Anthropic, it sounds like very a scary term, but the word anthropic comes from the Greek word anthropos, which means human or man. The anthropic principle is just a fancy title for the mounting evidence that has many scientists believing that the universe is extremely fine-tuned or designed to support human life here on Earth. In the vast and hostile universe, we Earthlings are much like astronauts who can survive only in the small confines of their spaceship. Like a spaceship, our Earth supports life as it hurls through lifeless space. But also like a spaceship, a slight change or malfunction in any one of a number of factors in either the universe or the Earth itself could fatally alter the narrowly defined environmental conditions we need to survive. All this is very much relevant for me because we've been watching this series in Apple TV Plus recently. It's titled For All Mankind, and it's a beautiful series that explores. It's a work of fiction based on the historical events on man's exploration of the moon, and all this talk about space. We're going to talk about it for the whole week, and it's just amazing for me. It's so much alive because I watched this series recently. If you have access to the streaming site, please check that out, and you will definitely enjoy. And that will make our topic relevant as well. Apollo 13 in history is one of the most challenging and famed missions in the history of NASA. Apollo 13 will actually help drive home this point about the teleological argument and how our universe, how Earth is actually extremely fine-tuned to support life. We're going to spend the next days, as I mentioned, talking about Apollo 13. And we'll point out some of the anthropic constant that makes our lives possible as we go along the events of Apollo 13. April 13, 1970, more than 2 days since Mission Commander Jim Lovell and two astronauts blasted out of the Earth's atmosphere on Apollo 13, a problem happened. So, what's the problem? They were already flying through space at more than 2,000 miles an hour, eagerly anticipating a walk that only a few men had taken, a walk on the surface of the moon. So everything is going as planned on their magnificently designed spacecraft. At 55 hours and 54 minutes into the mission, shortly after completing a TV broadcast back to Earth, Lovell is putting wires away when he heard a loud bang. He initially thought that it's just a prank made by his co-pilot, Jack Swigert, but soon they realized that it's no joke. At this point, the astronauts are not entirely sure what is happening. So apparently, oxygen tank sensors appear to be erratic. They're showing the tanks have as little as 20% to the impossible quantity of over 100%. Meanwhile, despite Hayes' initial observation that the voltage is looking good, multiple master caution warnings on the ship's electrical systems are telling the opposite story. Within a few minutes, the dire nature of the problem becomes apparent. Apollo 13 doesn't have just a sensor problem. It has an actual problem. Their spacecraft, now nearly 200,000 nautical miles from Earth and heading away from home, is quickly losing oxygen and power. 2 of the 3 fuel cells are dead, and the third one is depleting rapidly. Hayes notifies Houston about the power situation. They're clearly just losing oxygen. And they saw that there's a gas venting out of their spacecraft when the astronauts looked at the window of their spacecraft, and they realized that that gas is actually oxygen. The oxygen level is really in a critical level. So the anthropic constant number 1 is oxygen level. That's it for now. We're going to continue tomorrow.